grade, my teacher asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I answered, "A pediatrician." But what I really wanted to say was that I've always wanted to grow up to become a cigarette, because it is the only thing that my father could never abandon. For as long as I can remember, I've always felt like a man constantly in reverse, like the backwash of a dream, like karma's favorite crash test dummy, constantly begging someone for all the love that they've already given me. So I started drinking and being with women in order to fill up all of those potholes inside of my spirit. But drinking more absolute only made me more obsolete. Now, I'm just a soul made out of 50% recycled plastic that held so tight because it makes pretending that letting go is never an option easier. An assembly of a man that loves like a runaway locomotive. My tears still tending to the broken Lazarus pieces of women buried in my collarbone as I treated their orgasms like mirrors to try and convince myself that I was beautiful. When I was 13, I first started building train tracks on my stomach, some on thighs, to all the parts of me that I wish I could forget, but that only made me more of a swollen, dirty pile of remorse, a shotgun shell inside a waiting room of catastrophe, for fiendish appetite for earthquakes. At the dripping enjambment of a woman, the earth shifts between my teeth and usually never returns the same. Misshapen planets have always tasted better to me, and there's no gravity to my will, only cadence from poetry and a vulgar smile stitched to a sense of humor, hiding the boy with the skin of a scarecrow, because it's the only way that his corny heart can ward off the birds and the bees. The only thing that my father ever passed me is this uncanny ability to hurt the people that we love the most. In a split second, I lost the only woman that I ever loved. The very next year, at a random doctor's visit, I found out that I was alcohol intolerant. I've drunk so much over the years that liquor has become poisonous to my blood, so my very next shot could very well be my last. You know, God, He has a funny sense of humor. Took away the two things that I harbored on the most, to teach me of love and that women and liquor are not a cure to my loneliness. But who would have known in the 15 years it took to write this poem that I would grow up to become some kind of pediatrician, making a stethoscope out of a microphone, writing poems out like daily prescriptions, and turning the stage into a patient room for the healing of me to start. Because when you are on the search for the divine inside of yourself, you're often led to the harsh realization that you've been more Rick James than First James, who built-in fire escapes inside of your bones. For all the time that you want to run away from the blaze inside of yourself, I used to want to grow up to become a cigarette. Made sense because I'm a cancer, but there's no chemotherapy to my astronomy. I still radiate like a sun that is afraid to shine, but always willing to give all of his light to save anyone's sunset, which is all with the excruciating reality that I not want to die alone and only be remembered as a small escape with a slow burning pulse, kind of like a cigarette. Let's go.